You've come across Dracula Scroll, a real-time reading of Bram Stoker's Dracula meant to interrupt your daily doom scroll with a little bit of gothic literature. Read aloud to as if by an older cousin, there's going to be limited editing and mistakes included. Please see my pinned post for content warnings and disclaimers. 1st of August, Mina Murray's journal. I came up here an hour ago with Lucy, and we had the most interesting talk with my old friend and the two others who always come and join him. He is evidently the Sir Oracle of them, and I should think must have been in his time a most dictatorial person. He will not admit anything, and downfaces everybody. If he can't out-argue them, he bullies them, and then takes their silence for agreement with his views. Lucy was looking sweetly pretty in her white lawn frock. She's got a beautiful color since she's been up here. I noticed that the old men did not lose any time in coming up and sitting near her when we sat down. She's so sweet with old people. I think they all fell in love with her on the spot. Even my old man succumbed and did not contradict her, but gave me double share instead. I got him on the subject of the legends, and he went off at once into the sort of sermon. I must try to remember it and put it down.
It be old fool talk. Lock, stock, and barrel. That's what it be, and nowt else. These bairns and wafts and boghosts and these barguests and bogles and all on them is only fit to see barns and dizzy woman al belderin.
I don't know what the fuck is being said right now, but we're going with it.
They be naught but airblebs. They and allgrims and signs and warnings be all invented by parsons and ilsome buke bodies and railway totors to scare and schooner haffens, and to get folks to do something that they don't other inclined to. It makes me ireful to think of them. Why, it's them that, no content with printing lies on paper and preaching them out of pulpits, does it want to be cutting them on the tombstones. Look here and all around in you, and what arts ye will. Look here all around you, and what arts ye will. All them steens holding up their heads as well as they can out of their pride is a cant simply tumbling down with the weight of the lies wrote on them. Here lies the body, or sacred the memory wrote on them at all, and yet in nigh half of them there ain't been no bodies at all, and the memories of them bain't carried a pitch of snuff about, much less sacred. Lies all them, nothing but lies of one kind or another, my gog. But it'll be a quare scoundrelment at the day of judgment when they come tumbling down there in their death sarks, all doped together and trying to drag their tombstones with them to prove how good they was, some of them trembling and dithering with their hands and dozed and slippery from lying in the sea, and they can't even keep their group of 'em.
I could see from the old fellow's self-satisfied air that the way in which he looked round for the approval of his cronies, that he was showing off, so I put in a word to keep him going. "Oh, Mr. Swales, you can't be serious. Surely these tombstones are not all wrong."
"Yablins! There be a poorish few not wrong, savin' where they make out the people too good. For there be folk that do think a bombo be like the sea, if only it be their own. The whole thing be only lies. Now look you here. You come here a stranger, and you seek this Kirkgarth."
I nodded, for I thought it was better to assent, though I did not quite understand his dialect. I knew it had something to do with the church. He went on.
"And you consait that all these steens be aboon folk that happened here, snod and snog."
I assented again.
"Then that be just where the lie comes in. Why, there be scores of these lay beds that be tomb as old Dunn's back a box on Friday night."
He nudged one of his companions, and they all laughed.
"And my gog, how could they be otherwise? Look at that one, the aftest abaft, the bare bank. Read it."
I went over and read. "Edward Spenslaw, Master Mariner, murdered by pirates off the coast of Andres, April 1854, 8:30. When I came back, Mr. Swales went on.
"Who's brought him home, I wonder, to hap him here, murdered off the coast of Andres, and you constated his body lay under? Why, I could name ye a dozen whose bones lie in the Greenland seas above."
He pointed northwards.
"Or where the currents may have drifted them. There be the steens around ye. Ye can, with your young eyes, read the small print of the lies from here. The Braithwaite Loiry, I knew his father lost in the lively of Greenland in 20, or Andrew Woodhouse drowned in the same seas in 1777, or John Paxton drowned off Cape Farewell a later year, or John Rawlings, whose grandfather sailed with me down the Gulf of Finland in 50. Do ye think all these men will have to make a rush to Whitby when the trumpet sounds? I have me anthems about it. I tell ye that when they got here and they'd be jumbling and jostling one another that way, that it'd be like fight up on the ice on the old days when we'd be at one another from daylight to dark, and trying to tie up our cuts by the light of the aurora borealis.
This was evidently a local peasantry, for the old man cackled over it and his cronies joined in with gusto. But, I said, surely you are not quite correct, for you start on the assumption that all the poor people, or their spirits, will have to take their tombstones with them on the Day of Judgment. Do you think that will be really necessary?
Well, what else be they tombstones for? Answer me that, miss.
To please their relatives, I suppose.
To please their relatives, you suppose?
This he said with an intense scorn.
How would it please their relatives to know that lies is wrote over them, and that everybody in the place knows they be lies?
He pointed to a stone at our feet, which had been laid down as a slab, on which the seat was rested, close to the edge of the cliff.
Read the lines on that Bruffstein, he said.
The letters were upside down to me from where I sat, but Lucy was more opposite to them, so she leant over and read, "Sacred to the memory of George Cannon, who died in the hope of glorious resurrection on July 29th, 1873, falling from the rocks at Kettleness. His tomb is erected by his sorrowing mother to her dearly beloved son. He was the only son of his mother, and she was a widow." "Really, Mr. Swales, I don't see anything very funny in that." She spoke her comment very gravely and somewhat severely.
"Ye don't see aught funny, ha ha! But that's because you don't gone, and the sorrowing mother was a hell-catten that hated him because he was a crooked. A regular Demeter he was, and he hated her so that he committed suicide in order that she might get an insurance she put on his life. He blew nigh the top of his head with an old musket that they had for scaring the crows with. 'Twarn't for the crows then, for it brought the clegs and the dopes to him. That's the way he fell off the rocks. And as to hopes of a glorious resurrection, I've often heard him say, Maisel, that he'd hope he'd go to hell, for his mother is so pious that she'd be sure to go to heaven, and he didn't want to addle where she was. Fucking mood.
Not of my mom, but like mood.
Now isn't that steen at any rate?
He hammered it with his stick as he spoke.
A pack of lies. And won't it make Drabiel cackle when Geordie comes panting up the grease with the tombstone balanced on his hump and asks it to be took as evidence?
I do not know what to say, but Lucy turned the conversation as she said, rising up. "Oh, why did you tell us of all this? It is my favourite seat, and I cannot leave it. And now I find I must go on sitting over the grave of a suicide."
"That won't harm ye, my pretty, and it may make poor Geordie gladsome to have so trim a lass sitting on his lap. That won't hurt ye. Why, I've sat here off and on for a nigh 20 years past, and it hasn't done me no harm. Don't ye fash about them as lies under ye, or that doesn't lie there either. It'll be time for ye to be getting scart when ye see the tombstones all run away with, and the place as bare as stubble field. There's the clock, and I must gang. My service to ye, ladies."
And off he hobbled. Lucy and I sat a while, and it was all so beautiful before us that we took hands as we sat, and she told me all over again about Arthur and their coming marriage. That made me just a little heartsick, for I haven't heard from Jonathan for a whole month. The same day. I came up here alone, for I am very sad. There was no letter for me. I hope there cannot be anything the matter with Jonathan. The clock has just struck 9. I see the lights scattered all over the town, sometimes in rows where the streets are, and sometimes singly. They run right up the Esk and die away on the curve of the valley. To my left view is cut off by a black line of roof of old house next to the abbey. The sheep and lambs are bleating in the fields away behind me, and there was a clatter of donkeys' hooves up the paved road below. The band on the pier is playing a harsh waltz in good time, and farther along the quay there is a Salvation Army meeting in the back street. Neither of the bands hears the other, but up here I hear and see them both. I wonder where Jonathan is, and if he's thinking of me. I wish he were here. Log of the Demeter, Varna to Whitby. 2 days of fog, and not a sail sighted. Had hoped, when in the English Channel, to be able to signal for help or get in somewhere. Not having power to work sails, having to run before wind. Dare not lower, as could not raise them again. We seem to be drifting to some terrible doom. Mate now more demoralized than either of them. His strong nature seems to have worked inwardly against himself. Men are beyond fear, working stolidly and patiently, with minds made up to worst. They are Russian. He Romanian. Spelled weirdly. God.